I'm the Ember, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a torch in Blender. The first video I ever made on this channel was how to make a low poly torch. So this time, 2 years later, I'm going to make a torch, but it's going to look a lot more realistic. So let's jump straight into it. So I'm going to select our cube, press X to delete it, then press Shift A mesh and add a cylinder. Then I'm going to go down to this drop down panel here, click that, and make the vertices 100. Now I'm also going to rotate this, so you can press R, then X, and then 90 to rotate this on the X axis by 90 degrees. And then I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode, and go up here and click face select. Now I can select the faces. And I'll just start with the back of the torch. So I'm going to press I to inset this, and then E to move it in. So that's the back of the torch. Now I'm going to select this front face, and then GY, move this out a bit, then press E, make a little segment here, and then E again, round about here, then E again, like that. Now I'm going to go up to edge select, so if you hold down Alt, you can select the whole loop, like this. And then I'm just going to move this along a bit, so GY, move it up a bit. And then go back to face select, Alt again, select this ring, then you can press Alt E, and extrude faces along normals. And you can see up top here, even thickness is off. If we press S, that turns it on. So I want that on, and then we don't want to make it too far down. So somewhere about like this looks pretty good. Yep. And then I'm just going to select the front face, GY, move it out a bit more, press E again, make another little ring here, E one more time. Then we're going to do the same thing with this loop here. Alt, select that, Alt E, extrude faces along normals, and S. There we go. Now I'm going to select our front, E, S, to scale that up, and then do that again. I'll just move this in a little bit, and then E again, then S, and then E, like that. And then up here, I want some ridges like this, going across like there on the torch. So I'm going to press E, move this out a little bit, extrude again, add a little gap. And this whole process is basically just extruding. Okay, so now I've got my 4 rings. Then I'm going to press E again. Okay, so now Alt, select this one, Alt, Shift Alt, and like that. Then Alt E, extrude faces along normals, and extrude those all in. Now I'm going to select this front face, press I to inset, and then E, and move this pretty far back. Then S, scale it down, then E, a bit more. Might also just move this ring up, so go up to face select, select this ring, GY, move it in a bit, and around here it looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to do some beveling. So make sure you're in edge select up here, and then hold down Alt and select all the edges you want to bevel, and Shift Alt to add to that selection. Okay, I've selected them all. Now I'm going to press Ctrl B to bevel, and then we can scroll our mouse wheel up to add more segments. So somewhere around like this looks pretty good. Yep, that looks pretty nice. Tab out, have a look at it, tab back into edit mode. I'm going to do the same with this inset here. Alt, Shift Alt, Ctrl B. And with this one over here. And Ctrl B. And that looks pretty good. Now I'm also going to go to the back and bevel these 2 edges. So hold down Alt, select this one, and Shift Alt, select that one. Now Ctrl B to bevel these again. And we don't want to bevel it too much, so somewhere around here looks pretty good. You can even bevel these edges if you want to make it look a little bit smoother. I'll just add a little bevel to this one. Add a little bevel to this one as well. And do this one here. Now I'm going to go to the end, and I forgot to actually bevel this front one here. And then just Control B, bevel those. And the same with this inner one here. And here. There we go. That is looking pretty good for the body of our torch. Now with our torch selected, I'm going to right click and shade smooth by angle. That will just smooth everything up a bit and make it look a lot better. Okay, so now we want the bulb in the front of the torch and the piece of glass that goes across the torch in the front like that. So I'm going to start with the bulb, Shift A, Mesh, Cylinder, and rotate this, so RX90. And then you can press the / button to isolate this object. I'm going to tab into edit mode, select the front face, and I need to go into edit mode to do that. And then Control B, bevel this, and something like that looks pretty good. There we can also right click and shade smooth by angle with this one, and then press / again, and move this up to the front, scale it down, and then we're going to go to side view by pressing the X up here on the gizmo. And then I'm also going to press Alt Z or this X-ray button up here, go into X-ray view. Now I'm just going to move this along here, and right about here is where I think the bulb should be. So I can turn X-ray view off, and I might even move that in a bit more. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to press Shift A, Mesh, and add a circle. I'm also going to make the vertices 100, and then tap into edit mode, and / again to isolate this object. Now I'm just going to go up to vertex select mode, press F to fill, and / again to unisolate this object. I'll move it over to the front, and RX90 to rotate it. Then I'm just going to go to side view and move this in. Go to front view, and I need to scale this up a little bit. Looks pretty good. Okay, so the next thing is the button, which I'll put right here. That's going to be pretty easy to do, so I'll do that right now. So Shift A, Mesh, Cylinder, tab into edit mode, select these top vertices. You can hold down Alt to select the ring, Control B to bevel that, and somewhere around like here looks pretty good. Then shade smooth by angle, S, scale this down, and I'm just going to go to side view and position this in a good spot. So I actually don't really like the margins here. The button is very close to this end of the torch, and I think I'll just slide this whole bit over this way a bit more. So to do that, I'm going to go into edit mode, go up to top view, go to X-ray mode, and select all these vertices. Then I'm just going to press G and Y and move this back a bit. Somewhere around here looks good. And I can even move this up a little bit. And I'll move this up a little bit as well. Something like this looks pretty good, so I'm going to tab out of edit mode, Alt Z to turn X-ray mode off, select this button, S, Shift Z, scale this up, GZ, GY, move into the middle here, something like that looks pretty good. Now it's kind of a good time to save, so I'm just going to press Ctrl S, and then you can save this to wherever you want. And then just click Save Blender File. Okay, so now it's time to add some materials. So I'm going to go up to this shading tab over here, and then I'm just going to change some render settings. I'm going to go to the camera icon, change the render engine from Eevee to Cycles, Cycles is a more realistic render engine. Then I'm going to change the device to GPU compute. And the viewport max samples to 32. The render max samples to 212. So I'm going to link this material in the description. It's a material from 𝘦𝘦𝘳. Once you've downloaded that material, you're going to go up to File, Append, then locate that Blender file. Then once you've found the blend file, double click into the blend file, go to Material, then select that metal material and then click Append. So with our torch selected, I'm going to click the drop down and it will be this F metal. It's pretty good. I might go over to the mapping here and make this scale a bit bigger. You can hold down Shift to make it a bit less sensitive. Something like that looks pretty good. For the button, I'm just going to make a new material for this button and make the color a blue, somewhere around like this. I'll turn the roughness down, and then I'll press Shift A and add a noise texture and a color ramp. Plug the factor of the noise into the factor of the color ramp, and plug the color ramp into the roughness. I'll zoom in on this. You can see it's not doing much, but we can crunch these values in, and then turn the scale up. You can see now that's actually doing something. Just need to get it in a good angle. There we go, you can see that. Then I'm also going to turn the detail all the way up, and adjust these values. Also going to adjust the noise texture a bit, and something like this looks pretty good. Yeah, so that looks pretty good for the button. And then I'm going to select this front piece of glass, and I'll call this glass. So I'm going to turn the roughness nearly all the way down, and turn the transmission all the way up. You won't see this in Eevee, but when we go to cycles, this will be see-through. Then I'm going to go back to our button, select these two nodes, Control-C, go back to the glass material, and Control-V to paste those. And I'll plug those again into the roughness. So, crunch this in a bit. Bring it up a bit. You can see if I do this. Bring it down a bit. Just need to play around with these values till you have something you like. I think that looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to go back to our layout. Tab into edit mode. I'm going to press Alt-Z to go into X-ray mode again. Select these vertices here, go up to top view, and zoom in. And Shift-Alt select these vertices as well. Then I'm going to press P and click Selection. Now that separates the object, so we have two objects here. Alt-Z to turn off X-ray, tab back into edit mode. Then I'm going to press Ctrl-R, that adds a loop cut, then left mouse click, then right mouse click to cancel the location of that. Then I'm going to change the number of cuts up, till in each little hole it looks like we have a square. So 57 looks pretty good to me. Then I'm going to press A. Now with all those selected, I'm going to press Ctrl F and poke face. And then I'm going to select one of the center vertices and press Shift G. Then I'm going to select amount of connecting faces. And then I'm going to press Alt S and scale these out a little bit. Like that. So we've got this grid. Make that a bit more. Okay. So now I'm going to add a subdivision surface to that. So go to modifiers over here and type in subdivision. And that actually doesn't look too good. So I'm just going to go back to edit mode. Alt S. Move these out more. There we go. That looks a lot better. I'm also going to right click and shade smooth. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. So now I'm going to go back to shading. And that's looking pretty good. I might actually just move this edge over here in a bit, and then move all of this side that way as well. I'm going to select the torch, then shift select the grip, tab to go into edit mode. and then we can hover over the grip, press L, and that will select that. Then I'm also going to go into X-ray mode, select all of this side, make sure you're holding down Shift, and select these vertices over here as well by holding Shift. Then GY, and move this in around about here. Now I'm going to hold down Shift and select these vertices as well, GY, and move those in. Tab go out of edit mode, and there we go, that's looking a lot better. Then I'm going to select the front glass, press H, select our bulb in here, then I'll make a new material and name that bulb. Then I'm going to delete the principled BSDF, Shift A, and add an emission. And plug that into the surface. Now I'll make that about like 5, maybe even 20 actually. And then we can press Alt H to unhide that glass. So now I'm going to go over to rendered view. There we go, that's looking really nice in rendered view. Yeah, that's looking really good. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our layout. Going to press Shift A, add a plane, and this will be our floor plane. So I'm going to press the / to isolate the object, and then click S and 10. Then I'm also going to go into edit mode and select these two back vertices, press E then Z, and extrude this up. Select those two vertices again, and add a bevel. And scroll the mouse wheel up to add more segments. Something around like this looks pretty good. Tab out of edit mode, and / again to unisolate that object. Now I'm going to go over here and select all the parts of the torch. Now if you press G, you can see that moves them all at once. I'm also going to press M, new collection, and call this torch, like that, and then OK. Now you can see that our grip is the active object, because it's got this yellow line around it. But if we hold down Shift and select the torch main body, that will become the active object. And then we can press Ctrl P and set parent to object. So now if we just have this main body of the torch selected and press G, it moves everything else as well. Now I'm going to rotate this on the x-axis, so RX 90, move it up like that. Then you can kind of just position this how you like, so RZ. Then you can press R twice to trackball rotation it. Something like that looks pretty good. I'll just move it down a bit. And go to top view and just position this in a good spot. Okay, I think that is looking pretty good. We'll just select our plane, press S then X and scale this out. Then I'm going to go over here and select this camera button here, go into camera view. You can press Shift tilde key, which is just above the tab button. So Shift tilde key, you can move around with the mouse, and WASD to move the camera, just like you're in a game. Then we can position this how we like it. I think this looks pretty good. Just click to exit that. Then I'm going to go up to rendered view. There we go, that's looking really nice. Now we have to do the lighting. So I'm just going to select our default light, press X to delete, and add a light area. I'll move this up to the top, scale it up, and make the power like 1000 or something. Yeah, that looks really nice. Also might move this glass a bit more forward. Press G and then ZZ. I'll move that forwards a bit. That looks pretty nice. I'm also going to select our back plane, right click and shade smooth. Then I'm going to go up to shading, click new, and just call this BG. Make the color all the way up to white. And turn the roughness down a little bit to make this reflective, but I think I might just turn it all the way up. Yeah, that looks really nice. I'm also going to select this glass and adjust these a little bit. We plug this straight into the surface. You can see what it's doing here. I think that looks pretty good. Plug the principled BSDF back in. Yeah, that might actually be a bit too much. So, yeah, that looks pretty nice. Now I'm also just going to go to the camera icon over here, the render settings, go down and change the look, none, to medium high contrast, and actually we can actually go to high contrast here. So Control S to save, and then we can just go render and render image. This might take a little while to render depending on your computer, but when it's done, it will look really cool. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something and enjoyed making this torch. If you like my content, then please subscribe. That would be really appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one.